Oh, good evening and welcome back to Green Street Elites. I don't know how that video looked and sounded to you lot, but to me it kept breaking up. I don't know, it might be my connection. Anyway, joining me first of all to my left from the bowling lounge, as you can see, Jeff. How are you, Jeff?
Fine, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me, Budgie. Thanks for the invite. I thought I was having a night
That's
off
all
tonight,
right,
but
mate. I'm hoping one or two others are going to come on as well.
cool.
But we'll see. We'll see. Basically, I've got nothing planned for tonight. It's just, as it says on the box, random shenanigans, just mates yakking about football and God knows whatever else. But we have to mention aliens. So we've done that. We'll see how that goes in the chat. We've got a few in the chat, so let's sort of introduce them to the show. We've got Brendan. Good evening, mate. Evening, Budgie and Kieran and Chatters. I do like random shenanigans. Kieran hasn't joined us yet. He may do in a while. He's got the invite. So we'll see about that. But good evening, Brendan. Wolfie, Simon, good evening, mate. Big up, gents. Have a great show. Thank you. Hope we do. Hope we do. Hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you very much. Brendan saying hi to Wolfie. And in return, oh, usual. Good evening to you, sir.
Evening,
How are you,
usual.
mate? Um, do. Yeah. Hang on. I've got BBC Three on watching the Welsh. Oh, nice. Nice. Let us know how that's going, usual. It's be Duty what's it? It'd be nice to know. So have I, a dull game, been oh right. Enjoyed I don't know how to say that. Enjoyed it but stayed in a hotel where you could book the room by the hour. Oh right, okay. Yeah, we know that kind of place from reputation only, of course. What have you been up to this week, Jeff?
Uh, not a lot, to be honest. Not a lot to report, Budgie. I've just been pottering around the house, really. That's it. I've been doing my dog walking. Daily dog walking is about as exciting as it gets for me this week. No football. I didn't
Nice.
take any interest in England. I
No,
spent the
I know
time
what
in the
you
pub
mean.
rather than in front of the TV. And
I watched the first half and a bit of the second half of last night's game because Bowen started, but that was the only reason, you know. Good evening, Happy. Thank you for joining, sweetheart. She is a moderator on this channel, I do believe.
Hi, Happy. Good to see you. Haven't seen you around for a while. Hope you're all right, hon.
Um, Brendan's saying, you've been missed. Hope you are well. Well, I do know that she's actually suffering with tonsillitis. Missed like a bad tooth. Great to see you all.
It
No,
won't keep her
not at
quiet
all.
on here, will it, Budgie? Tonsillitis. Don't stop her fingers.
Well, do you know what? Until we've got, hang on, let me just check the green room. No, nobody there. until we've got nobody else in the green room, let's do that. Yes. Happy, lovely to see you, as usual. How have you been? See, they're all asking. Just missed, says Brendan. Uh, Mr. Bong, good evening to you, sir.
Evening,
Good
Mr.
evening,
Bond.
my lords, baronesses, ladies, and distinguished gentry. Oh, and Budgie and Kieran. Kieran's not here yet, but we're hopeful that he will pop up. He's got the link. Hi, Jeff, not Kieran yet then. Right, who else we got in there? Budgie and Mr. Lounge as usual. Yep. Joan, good evening to you, Joan. Thank you for joining. Potter's getting a new deal is great news today. Absolutely happy. We are going to do some football talk, but we are going to talk about aliens in a minute. Actually, I am going to play a little video in a little while because well, I'll explain why in a minute. I'll explain why in a minute. Smugs and Ralph. She never uses our proper names.
For anyone.
Yeah, not for anybody. We're not unique in that, I suppose. Jones missing the football. Aces, good evening to you, buddy. Hope
Evening,
you're well.
Aces.
Everybody's saying, Damien, good evening. You have got the link, mate. If you want to come on,
Evening, Damien.
feel free to come on, buddy. You're welcome. No, 58 minutes played. Dull as dishwater, this game, as usual. Oh, cool, no problem. It's great to see Bowen start. Didn't get much of the ball, though. No, it kind of went over to the left a lot while he was on the right. Then when they stuck him on the left, it went over to the right a lot. So, yeah, didn't get an awful lot. Got to agree. Sinkadu's got his first goal for Ghana this year. All the players did his celebration with him. What, sitting on a stall? Great. I love it. I'm going to watch that later on YouTube. Good evening, Mama Flossie. Thank you for joining, sweetheart.
Mama.
Right, who else is in here? Anyone else? Oops, okay, we'll stop the football talk. No, it's all right. This is like a jumble sale in here. You'll find anything on this table. Everybody's saying hi. And that's the... Oh, mate, I can't believe it. I've actually caught up with the chat that quickly. Right, so... You didn't actually watch the Bowen performance for England last night, I take it then, Jeff?
I didn't watch any of the England football. I was
No, I understand.
totally nonplussed by it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I get it.
I shouldn't be like that. They're proper games, they're qualifiers, but England did what I expected them to do without watching them. They won comfortably against these nations, and they should. And
yeah,
I find it a bit uninspiring, if I'm honest. Evening words.
Evening words and pictures. Budgie, Jeff, good to see you. Good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Doesn't make for much of a talking point about the international football with me, I'm afraid. But
no, that's fine. That's fine. But on a more club level point to the internationals, do you find it frustrating that some of our better players, or all of our better players, with the exception of obviously one or two that haven't got picked for one reason or another, but do you find it frustrating that they have to go away for this international duty and not continue with the club stuff? Or are you all for players playing international?
Yeah, no, I'm not anti-international. I'm just not particularly inspired about watching England and Albania and Latvia and the like. I don't think if we talk about it on a club level, I don't think Antonio playing for Jamaica has ever done the club any favours.
No.
Um,
And it's really no favour that he's not away with them at this current time,
well, I
because
mean,
we can't use him and they can't use him, you know.
but yeah, I mean, it's only been to the detriment of West Ham
Yeah,
for
I agree.
Antonio to
I
play
agree.
for Jamaica, but
Yeah,
for him individually, i- he's playing international football. He's representing his country. So
he's been
I
put on the
understand.
world stage rather
Yeah,
than the
yeah, right.
national stage.
So I absolutely understand individual players' ambitions to play for their respective countries and wanting to do so. And I have absolutely no objection or put down on those that represent their country. I just find quite a lot of international football uninspiring. Um,
Yeah,
a lot of the time, love the tournaments, right? And if we had a tougher group, I'd be more engaged. But I
yeah,
expect us to just qualify as England do quite comfortably,
yeah, yeah,
and then the tournament proper comes around, right?
yeah, yeah. Damien,
Maybe I'm
sometimes,
complacent. I don't know.
sorry, Damien, sometimes Restream does actually boot you from the studio once or twice, but try again. You will get in. And once I find, like, once you come in and I click on you, you won't get booted again. So try again if you want to come in, mate.
Hopefully, Damien's watched the internationals. He'll be able to contribute a bit more than me.
Yeah, there he is. Look, let's get him on. There he is, Damien. Oh, look, he looks just like Edson Alvarez. Look.
He does, yeah, exactly like him.
Hello, mate. Can you hear us? Damien? Can't hear you, mate. Are you on mute? Let me see. No, can't hear you. That's an absolute shame. Damien, try again, mate. I'm sorry.
That is a
I'll
shame.
kick you from the studio and try coming back in again because, oh, hang on. No, he's just sent me a message. No idea what's happening. Can't get audio. Dang. Oh, well, it's the audio we need more than anything, unless you can do sign language.
Maybe jump in and out again, Damien. See if that works. I don't really
Yeah,
know.
try.
I'm
Yeah, try.
I'm not the
There you
best
go.
one to
There
us
you
words
go.
and pictures. I'm not the best one with technology. Couldn't just enlarge the screen the other week.
Uh, Brendan, you twit. Howard told us that you said Antonio was on the bench for Jamaica this weekend. I said he was on the beach in Jamaica. No, I didn't even say that, actually.
You're never going to live
Um,
that down, Budgie.
I'm never going to live it down ever in my
No,
lifetime then.
it's
Good
good. It's
evening,
good
Wally
banter.
Well. Thank you, Wally, for joining us, mate. I hope everybody's well at your end of
Wally.
the Atlantic. That's the quietest Damien has been ever. Brendan, that's so rude. That's so rude, mate. Right, okay, so look, while we're trying to sort out Damien's technical issues and that, I'm going to give us something else to sort of talk about in a
Is
minute.
it aliens?
Like another one of the ladies at the house has turned up, Miss Hammerette. Hi, I just wanted to pop and say hi to everyone. Drop a like and ask everyone who isn't already to please drop a like as they'll help Budgie grow his channel. Thank you, sweetheart. Another one of my moderators. Thank you very much, Miss Hammerette. Very, very kind of you to do so. And like she said, please drop a like. And if you're not already subscribed, give us a little one of them and all. It don't cost you nothing. It's great. What else have we got there? Nothing. Oh, look, there she is again. Saying hello again. Back to everybody. Right, so yeah, I was going to play a little video, just because I've been thinking about this guy for a bit, and um, I'm rather hoping, that somebody else is actually watching, but not
Watch the
commenting.
flex, yeah?
Okay.
The Franklin's in the building. Shortside, how you mean? Big up. Yo, Reggie, listen, I ain't talking about transfers, doc. I'm talking about, like, yo, what you call it when, like, when you die and you get, like, I don't know, turned into something else. What's that called? Like, recreation, when you're resurrected, like, yo, I want to be resurrected as a bird, doc. How you mean, man? Like, real talk. I'm talking about them things, doc. Yo, you'll never, ever, ever believe what I heard today, Doc. It was mad. The news that I heard today on the street was crazy, Doc. It was crazy. Like, man and mama saying two things about how, like, Happy's in the building. Happy Hammer is in the.
Well, I don't know how that looked for you lot, but again, for me, it was very choppy. But yeah, I was thinking about him because I'm having another shirt printed soon, um, for my darts team. Like we all have our own individual shirts, and the one I'm having printed is it's got this budgie behind me on it, on one shoulder, and a peach on the other shoulder.
Nice.
So it's going to cost me about 75 quid for this shirt, but yeah. So I've been thinking about him a little bit. So you know what I mean?
Nice tribute. And I
Yeah.
know you were close to him, and I know lots of people in the chat
Mhm.
knew him as well. I never
No, I know you
knew.
didn't, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate that that I've sort of put that on you because you can't really say an awful lot about that
No,
either.
no, it's difficult.
But the thing is, the nice thing is now all the memories about him are all happy ones, and I mean, the sadness of losing him is still there, but it's not the forefront of everything anymore. I can now listen to a lot of the voice notes. In fact, I've gone through about 300 of the 700 I've got, 700 plus that I've got of voice notes from him. So, I mean, he used to voice note me about 8 times a day, and some of them were like 15 minutes long, and he would do the same to loads of other people. How the hell he had the time to do it? And they were all personal voice notes, Jeff.
Yeah,
You
he
know what I
sounds
mean?
an amazing character, and
Oh, he was
I know
incredible.
he touched you
No,
quite deeply.
nobody in the world like him. Nobody. Um, yeah. Like Words and Pictures says, miss your peach now flying in the forever sky. Um, uh, yeah, that's another thing. He lost his mum. Ah, right. Okay. Let's see if we can bring this man back in.
Let's
Oh,
hope it. Let's hope it
uh,
works this time.
yeah. Damien, can
Hello.
you hear us?
Yeah, what's happening, people? Everyone all right?
Perfect. Yeah, good,
Yeah.
Damien. Nice to meet you.
Hello, Jeff. You all right? A big
Yeah.
admirer.
Oh, thank you very much. It's kind of you
You're a
to say.
celeb. You're a celebrity in this household. Both the two of you, you're influencers. You're influencers. That's how I see
Oh,
you.
mate, I wouldn't go that far.
No, no, for
Logan and
sure.
Jake Paul. But yeah.
But like I put in the description, just a bunch of mates chatting about whatever. So, Damien, what's on your mind, mate?
I'm a little bit worried about Potter. I'm a little bit worried about Potter. I'm hoping to see something different after this international break.
Yeah.
I need to see I need to see the evolution to this style of football. Um, 5-3-2 sorry, 5-2-3 with five at the back, so to speak, with like three centre backs, two wing backs, two man midfield, and three
Yeah.
as a front line, I think is all right. This five at the back with three in midfield and two up front, I'm finding it tough to watch at the moment. I'll be honest. I
Mm.
think it's really defensive. So I'm a little bit. I'm just hoping that Potter tries to make us a step more progressive, to be honest, after the international break. But I read today that they held an indoor, behind closed doors friendly, and
Yeah.
supposedly he was still playing 5-3-2. So um, I was hopeful that there'd be a change and he'd take a man out of midfield and put them in the front line to get a little bit more press going. But it seems like he genuinely wants to play
Yeah,
eight
but
nine
the
men
thing
behind
is,
him.
Damien, with the players that he had available to him, yeah, he
Mhm.
had Paqueta played.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Me personally, when I heard that, it sounded like Paqueta played in midfield, right? So me
Yeah, so he
personally,
would push forward, wouldn't he?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe if he joins the attack as kind of a third man, that wouldn't be too bad to watch. But we'll
Mm.
see how he
We
goes. We'll see how he
we
goes. I
can't
get
really
it.
say we can't really say how they played because none of us were able to see it.
Yeah.
We were only going on word of mouth from some people that were there for
Hmm.
whatever reason. But it's a good sign that he's, you know, look at who he had available to him. Full Crew played some time.
Yeah.
Um, who else came on? He used Andy Irvine as a left-sided centre back,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
giving a
yeah. That
three at
makes
the
sense
back.
to me. That makes sense to me. I like that. That's a
It does,
balance. I'm all about
and the fact that he's a free roaming type of midfielder, the fact that he had the discipline within himself to play that role today and not hear any bad reports back on that as such means that he's a player that Potter will be able to nurture because Potter likes versatile players, as we know.
yeah, yeah.
Do you
I can
see
see
him
that with
playing
Andy.
Potter there? Does anyone see him playing Potter there, or do you think he just did it because Mavropanos is away?
I think he's
Well, do you know
maybe
what?
looking at him. I think he's maybe looking at him as what he
As
would
an
expect a
alternative,
Gued to be like, almost. You know, like quite tall, decent with the ball because
he's got some height, the lad, hasn't he?
yeah, I like Andy Irving's profile. I'm just not sure if the standard's gonna all the way follow through to. I want West Ham to be a top 10 Premier League team, not a bottom five Premier League team. Is how I look at it. With Andy Irving, I like his profile of player. I'm very much one of these. I like balance. I like my left backs to be left footed. I like my right backs to be right footed. I like my I like one of my wingers to be right footed, one of my wingers to be left footed. So I like Andy Irving's profile. I do. He's not as old as people may. He's still quite young. I do worry about the level though. I'll be honest. He said it himself, but we'll see. We'll see what Potter wants to go with. I think it's good that he's keeping them playing during the break. And Paqueta is kind of one of those ones that you've always had question marks about how is best to use him. I remember Moyes saying, well, we're still working out whether he's an 8 or whether he's a 10. And then there's been times that he's been played left midfield. So uh, Paqueta's the way I refer to Paqueta is he's quite bespoke. Like he's not a very like with Bowen. You look at him and you think to yourself, he's a right winger. You know,
Yeah,
with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you look at him and you say he's a right back or he's a right wing back kind of thing. With
yeah,
Paqueta, I think if you gave him to five different managers, they would all kind of consider using him differently, you know. So
yeah, yeah. I
Paqueta's
get
quite
you.
the bespoke piece, but we'll see. We'll see. My thing with Potter at the moment is I feel like a lot of Moyes' success come with an emphasis on physicality. To be honest,
Yeah,
I think he needed to see that someone was gonna win most of their duels in the Premier League, be able to run for 90 minutes, and when I look at that side, I feel like there's that's still the core of that side, and that's kind of the way you would go with it. But I'm not sure what Potter would see from it.
mm,
Yeah. Another thing is, I was just saying this on Hammer's chat in one of the comments. Is I feel like the quality is there in that team. I feel like the Lopetegui era, if you can even call it that, the Lopetegui spell.
Yeah,
I don't think he quite left a legacy or had an era to himself, but the Lopetegui period, let's say, I feel like it made people feel like the quality of player that we've got is actually worse than it is. So all of a sudden, like I see it for large spells of this season. Um, Alvarez was a liability. Kilman wasn't very good. Aaron Wan-Bissaka couldn't go forward. All these little labels that people picked up, and I
yeah,
don't think it was actually the players. I just think it was bad coaching. And I feel like if you were to coach them well, you've actually got some good players. Like Edson Alvarez is captain of his country. Thomas Suchek is captain of his country. Max Kilman is a good quality player. I understand that 40 million is expensive, but
but
I
is
think
it
we've got
though?
a lot about him, Max Kilman. I think he's left-footed, which is a rare profile, because I know I get a bit bitty about things like this. But only about I've coached teams, right? And when you get a little lefty in your group, I'm like, right, come with me, right? You're going to add to the balance of the side. And if you think that Kilman's 6'4", this sounds a little bit scientific. But if you think about
6'4" and good on the floor, Damien.
6'4", good on the floor. Could you ask for more? But I like Kilman. I like Kilman. I really, really, really like Kilman. When during the international break, I was thinking to myself, I bet Potter's happy to have Kilman there. As a matter of fact, when I first see Kilman interviewed, I will give everyone else a chance to speak. I just want to get a bit off my chest because I've been
Well, that's why you're here, Damien.
I've been a
You
little
don't
bit
often get a chance to get it all out in one
I,
go.
I've been a little bit worried about the direction with things at the moment. But the thing is, this with me, before I go on to Max Kilman, I've been really, really supportive of Potter. And then the international break come, and then I started having my little doubts about, is it the injuries that we're not playing like that? Or is it because he just wants to have control of, like, he doesn't want to see the other team have the ball kind of thing. Like, I don't think. Anyway, we'll see what happens with Potter. And to be honest, if he maintains a flexible mentality, we'll see what he does. With Max Kilman, when he was first interviewed by the club, he does have that kind of modern day footballer. Yeah, I'm just going to talk through the questions, do my job, blah 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 blah. But
Yeah,
I think I think he might be a bit of a natural leader just through his stature. When I see him and Bowen stood next to each other when they did a little thing with um, with uh, the club, and it was called Captains. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it in the chat, but they did a thing on YouTube called Captains where it was while Lopetegui was still here, but Kilman was doing a little. They were all picking like captains that for a five-a-side team and whatnot. It was just a little promo video, but I felt like Kilman almost gave a little bit more natural essence of leadership than Bowen, if I'm going to be honest. I think just through kind of body language and the way they were communicating, I
yeah.
just
I
feel like
would
Kilman might be the
suggest.
more natural leader, just through
Yeah, I would
stature.
suggest though that that's probably because Kilman's had more experience as a captain than Bowen has, perhaps, because you've got to remember he was captain at Wolves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
he's a natural leader on the pitch anyway.
He does
And,
that, yeah.
I kind of like the fact that we have got natural leaders in kind of every line of our team. I mean, like when we've got Antonio fit, he's a natural leader. He kind of orchestrates what he wants done up front, and in midfield, we've got one or two that do that. Socek, we've got Bowen, who you might class as a midfielder stroke striker, whatever, and I just think we've got captains all over the pitch,
The
and
thing
we
is,
have, as you rightly said,
the thing is,
Alvarez,
the
we
thing is,
lifted the CONCACAF trophy yesterday.
that's
So
it. That's what I'm going to say. But someone like
congratulations to him and Mexico. They've done really well to get right the way through and win that. Brilliant. Lovely to see our players are lifting trophies in these, international breaks. So that's great.
I think, but
I
this,
want to bring Jeff in on something
on.
that you said earlier, actually, Damien.
Go on then.
You were talking, but Damien was talking about the style of play, right,
Yeah.
and the formation that he tends to kind of hover around. He might
Currently,
tweak
at least.
it a bit here and there. Eh?
Currently, at least, you're talking about.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that we've got the right personnel to actually implement that tactic, as it were?
Okay. So I kind of agree with quite a lot Damien said there. He said quite a lot, so I've digested it
Sorry.
all. But on the formation thing, I agree. He strikes a note with me when he says it's a bit boring. I found the last few games a bit boring to watch, and we spoke about it a bit on last week's show about where everyone's expectations of Potter were or are, and where we're at. And for me, a few people in the chat last week agreed. I've got kind of exactly what I expected from Potter. So we were regularly getting beat 3 or 4, 5 goals sometimes under Lopetegui and the back end of Moyes' tenure.
Yeah.
So to suddenly come and tighten that up, probably anyone could have been tighten that up a bit better than that, right? Me or you probably could have done that. Any one of us, between us, we could have done a joint job and done that. Right.
Yeah.
So
Us three played three at the back.
I don't think that's the greatest achievement to stop us leaking goals, but it's not unexpected, right? For Potter to have shored that up. He's also made us to look a bit more organised. We keep the ball a bit better, but we ran out of ideas at the top end of the pitch. And that is Potter in a nutshell for me. I've said it when we were talking about Potter as a prospective candidate in the summer. I said, I think he's a decent coach, plays decent football, but I think his team struggle to score goals. And we're definitely suffering the Potter disease of struggling to score goals at the moment. And I actually don't think that this formation really helps us to score goals. I don't think we're going to score a lot of goals like this. I don't really like it. And I don't like Kudus and Bowen as the two up. I mean, I want to see us have a striker up top. I'd rather us play 4-1-4-1 and have a striker on the pitch than the way he plays like now. If he wants to keep the defensive element to it and say, okay, I'm going to stick Alvarez, for example, in front of that back four, and if he needs to make a 5 or whatever times, to keep that defensive. But I'd rather keep wide players wide, fullbacks coming on and supporting them, get crosses into a centre forward, and midfielders coming into a Souček or whatever, arriving in the box to get on the end of that. I think we score more goals than trying to play it through midfield, back to our back five because we ain't got nowhere to go,
Yeah.
lumping it up for one of Kudus or Bowen to compete for, and repeat. And it's so slow most of the time. We don't open anyone up. And Bowen or Kudus pulls into those wide channels, and then we don't have anyone to hit anyway. We have targets, do we?
True. I mean, I
And
think
it's
we
boring,
were
right?
at
It's
our
fucking
most
boring.
productive.
It has been
I
boring.
mean,
It has been.
this
It's knock
this
it about
might.
and just go long to it's knock it about and go long. All it was against Newcastle, I think, was the I'm not sure whether it's Eddie Howe doing his homework or it just is going to end up like that sometimes. But against Newcastle, it was literally pass it round a back five, and then you got three in midfield, and it kept going back, and eventually someone would just play a 30-yard pass to either Bowen or Kudus. It was it was poor. I'll be honest. The thing is, we only conceded one goal, but realistically, I think James from E20 Zone said this. He said this a lot. He said, "What happens when you concede first? It's like generally what does happen when you concede first. It's like what now? Like you were talking about formations, Jeff, right? And how you'd like to see it pan out. The way I'd like to see Potter evolve from this is lose a midfielder and put another man in the front line and literally have three outlets kind of thing. So you've got one maybe more of a focal point, but two either side. And the two either side, it's almost how Amarin is playing with is
But
planning
would
to
you
play
play
with.
a 4-3-3 like that,
No,
Damien?
I'd play it how Amarin is doing it, 3-4-3 pretty much, or and then if you need and then drop the wing backs as fullbacks off the ball as kind of to go. Me personally, I'm a four two
I
three
think
one
we
man.
were at our
I like
most
Moyes' style
productive.
of play.
Have we got the midfielders to play that system? Do you think, Damien?
The one
I
that
don't think so.
the only one they seem to be happy with at Man United is Ugarte, who is a ball winner, but he's good on the ball. And I see that as Edson Alvarez. I'll be honest. I do not see how Edson Alvarez is not in that midfield. For me, he is what you build around in the summer. Personally, I, I like. I feel like everyone else would be a bit limited. I feel like Suchek is a bit of a blocker, and he's a bit of a. He'd
Yeah.
be good off the ball, but he's not going to turn and make anything happening. JWP is good on the ball, but if it's coming the other way, he's not going to really defend. And then you got Soler, who's kind of a bit like in the JWP role. Paqueta has got all the physical qualities to do it, in my opinion. I think Paqueta's physicality is quite underrated, but it's just whether he's got the discipline. I'll be honest. With Paqueta, I don't know. I think Potter alluded to it in his first game or so. Sometimes you just got to let Paqueta do what he wants sometimes. So it's a tough one, but
I think that's the right approach with him as well. I mean, you would never tie someone like Ronaldinho down. You would. I mean, not saying they're on the same level of skill.
No, I agree.
But you would never tie Ronaldinho down. You would never have tied Messi down. Cristiano Ronaldo, although he was predominantly a winger. If you said to him, right, free run, Chris, you know, you've got probably the best player in the world running circles around anybody anywhere on the pitch, you know. But anyway,
where do you think
I
the best
wanted
games have
to
come from?
say,
I've got a
I
question for
wanted to
Damien, if
say,
you don't
I
mind.
think that I
Budge.
think we were at our most productive when we were playing the 4-2-3-1 formation under David Moyes. I'm sorry,
Me too.
but
Me
I
too.
think that's when we were at our most lethal.
Me too.
Yeah, I
Jesse
don't see a
Lingard as the
problem with
10.
that formation either.
Exactly.
4-1-4-1,
Jesse Lingard
4-2-3-1.
playing that role that I think Paqueta should play.
Yeah. The problem you get with that formation though is the the Bowen Kudus situation, and I knew that when we signed him. I knew that when we signed him. I knew that I knew that as soon as we signed Kudus, there was going to be an issue of who plays right, who plays left, who plays in the middle. I knew it, and I knew when we signed Guilherme as well. He's got all the talent in the world, but ultimately, he's a very similar profile to Bowen and Kudus. He's a left-footed winger. He wants to, in the modern game, those players are pretty much utilised to come in off the right and go onto their left foot. Now you got Bowen who wants to do that. That'd be if you ask Bowen, what do you want to do for this team? He'd say, I want to play from the right, come in on the left, come in onto my left and shoot. If you ask Guilherme, he'd probably say the same thing, and if you ask Kudus, he'd probably say the same thing. So I
Yeah,
just
but
thought,
realistically, though, Damien,
mm,
we're not gonna. We're probably gonna lose Kudus in the summer, right? Realistically, okay.
maybe,
Chances are, if Paqueta's found not guilty, we're gonna lose him and all, right?
yeah,
There's a chance, right? I'm not saying that it's like set in stone, but
mm,
there is a chance, right? Now, I believe that we've got Somerville for a reason. Yes, at the moment he's injured and he's on his way back, but we've got him for a reason. We need a left winger, and we've got one in Somerville. It's his natural position. That's where he wants to play. So that's where we've got that. And I think that Bowen is the right-sided player. And if we're going to lose Paqueta, like I believe we might, that's where I think Guilherme would be the player to put in the centre
oh yeah, that
as a
just
10.
I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. To me, that feels like we're going backwards in quality. If I'm going to be totally honest,
You know, look,
so,
we're
to
going to
me,
be selling, if we're going to be selling those two players that I mentioned, Kudus and Paqueta, right? Let's say there's 150 million quid there for the two of them,
mm,
right? We're obviously going to invest that in more players. But what I'm saying is, with what's left, a starting 11 could consist of those three playing those positions. Yeah, okay, Guilherme is a young player and, maybe he's not ready for the Premier League. I don't know. I don't see him on a daily basis. But we've got him for a reason. And he came to us as a left-footed attacker, not as a winger. He
mm,
came to us. I looked it up on Transfermarkt, and he came to us as a left-sided attacker, which is basically, you know, a similar position to Somerville. Really, to be fair.
I
mm,
just want to throw something else into the mix because obviously Damien was saying previously about wanting to build the midfield around Alvarez and one thing and another, and you've just touched on the fact that perhaps Kudus and Paqueta leave potentially.
Yeah,
Uh, and rumours previously about Alvarez wanting to leave. What if Alvarez moves on in this exodus of players?
yeah,
Just
well,
hypothetical.
yeah,
Um, leaves us in quite a spot then. There's quite a lot of recruitment to go on in some pretty crucial areas, isn't there?
yeah. And to be fair, we ain't got much of a parachute to fall back with, either. Yeah, fall down with, have we? We've got players to replace them, but not in quality, only in body. Do you know what I mean?
Who would you put in? And I know that there's potential incoming, so we can only speculate about that. But if we say at current personnel, without additions, you're back to what? Suchek there? Maybe Andy Irving?
Hmm. Maybe. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. What
Or
do you think,
Freddie
Damien?
Potts.
I've probably
Perhaps Freddie Potts is an option, but he should be around the squad, I think, next year,
yeah,
mate.
I like Potts. I'm I don't know if anyone's ever seen my comments typically on West Ham Network, but I am not a romanticist when it comes to youth. Sorry to say, anyone who's like really, I totally respect the work of our youth academy. I genuinely think we're one of the best academies in the world. Like, all I ever hear from the academy is success. That being said, it is very, very, very. It's a steep. It's a steep. The gap is quite vast, but well, extremely vast between youth football and the Premier League.
I
I'm
agree.
a big, big, big believer in this youth system, and I think Potts. I was saying previously that I think it might be a year early for Potts. I take that back. I think it's time. I think 2 years. I think if you've done the 2 years of progressive loan moves, you have to get a shot. You can't ask someone to do three. I don't think. But Potts is one of the ones who really and truly is the pick of the litter. So you're asking Potts to come in and then prove himself in a Premier League environment. Skulls, I'm not just saying this to kind of big myself up or anything, but I promise you, I have been saying Ollie Skulls' name for at least 2 years because I see him play a couple of times, and I just see it as why wouldn't you give him a go pretty soon as Creswell's age now? So um, the other ones,
I agree. I've been a big fan of Scholes myself. I think his injury set him
yeah,
back quite a lot, but he's come back really fit and strong from that, and now he's slotted into the first team. And I think he's, if not cemented his place in the first 11, he's definitely cemented his place in the first team squad.
he never stopped growing either. He
No,
never stopped growing. He every couple of weeks I see him, I'm like, he's starting to look more and more like a man now. Like,
yeah,
and he's only 19. That's the
yeah.
thing. Like, this is the thing why I was I remember kind of when the Divine Mabama situation took place, and oh, he's not signing the contract. He's the worst thing ever. Now he's not signing the contract. We all hate him. Blah blah blah. I thought, and people all of a sudden he went from being a youth prospect to being shit. Yeah, in this fan base's eyes, I was saying you can't judge people when they're 19. Like realistically, these players have got 2-3 years before they even start reaching their physical prime. So
He was a classic example of one of our youth players that was a bit over-egged, though, wasn't he? In my opinion. So
overrated.
everyone raved about him, but when you did see him, do you know what his first touch wasn't always all that, and
He's a goal
you can't.
scorer, though, isn't he?
Yeah, and you couldn't commit. You couldn't knock his commitment. I mean, he applied himself on the pitch well, but people were elevating him to he is this, that, and the other kind of level, and I'm not sure he ever was. That's really where I'm coming from. I think that's reflected in a bit what you said earlier, that we like to sort of like the gap is just so big, and we think they're ready before they are, and some of them I think may never be ready. Right? It's so challenging. I think there's a gap. I don't know what can be done about it between in the development stage of these youngsters and perhaps getting them successful loans is the way to do it, because we used to have proper reserve team football. We've spoke about it often before, Budgie. I think that is not the same as youth players playing against youth players. That's a proper education for them. And going out on loan, the way Potts has for a couple of years, and going and playing in leagues is like playing against proper seasoned pros. It's a proper education. You're proper learning your trade. And it's not so strange in the Premier League then. If you're going from youth football into that top level environment, it's crazy to ask them to do it.
I think there's a difference. I'm sure there is probably a little incremental jump in levels, right? Because what you're going to find in academies in comparison to lower leagues is the academy boys are probably a bit more kind of like technical, but in the lower leagues it's probably a bit more physical,
Yeah,
which is what the kids need. But
exactly.
also, I think that if you're going into if you're going into a dressing room, right, and you're playing with a youth team, these are my. It's almost like a group at school. They're like these are my these are my boys. We all come up together. We've all been playing since we're 12. We all know each other. I see it on Instagram. All the current youth team all still leave little love hearts on each other's pages and stuff like that. So they're obviously really close. But when you take them out of that environment, it's not just the level of physicality that goes up. I think it's that environment that in the dressing room, John, the left back, the 33-year-old left back who is on 2 grand a week or whatever, he needs to win. He needs to win. He's not thinking about, oh well, I've got 10 years ahead of me. I've got a glorious path laid out for me for a Premier League club. He's thinking like let's say Potts, for example. Potsy, we need to fucking win today. You know what I mean? Like we can't get relegated. We might get promoted. You never know, but we need to get this done today. It's not kind of go through the motions against Blackburn youth team or something like that. It's kind of like this. It's a pressure pot. You know what I mean? Professional clubs are pressure pots. They've
Yeah.
got 15,000 fans or 10,000 fans who turn up and need you to win, kind of thing. So I think away from the physical side of it, I think it's important for these kids to be amongst it and realize clubs need to win. Points win prizes. You
Yeah,
know,
the whole thing is an education, isn't it? Everything about
it
it
is.
is an education.
It is. It is. It is. And the thing is as well, I do believe that 19, 18, 19, even 20 is quite an early time to judge players. I'll be honest because like I always say this to Russie B, shout out Russie B, um about Casey, right? So I heard Peter Crouch say something, and Peter Crouch went on a lot of loan moves while he was young, and he was saying that what he found is a lot of the people were in his age group started to kind of progress at a certain stage. And he said what it was is because he was like 6'5" or something, it took him longer to grow into his body. So I feel like someone like Casey, for example, who's what naturally 6'4" or something like that, I think he's going to be a totally different player by the time he's 24 or something like that. So I think it is about patience and realizing that all these players need individual journeys, like and being patient. Like I think our youth academy is bloody fantastic, to be honest. Like I say this to Russ all the time. Um, you've got when I used to play kind of football, Saturday league, Sunday league. I used to play in Essex. There were tons and tons and tons of football pitches, untold talent out there playing. I used to play in Hackney Marshes, untold talent. Wanstead Flats, untold talent. So I actually think that West Ham, where they're situated, you've got the pick of the litter there. To be honest, if you had people on the ground saying, "Yeah, he looks like he could be a future left back. He looks like he could be a future centre midfielder," all these kind of things, I actually think we're really well situated to get really good young players. But it is about being patient with them. I think it is about being patient with them. I think Potts well and truly deserves his shot next year. I think with the
I think,
interviews he's been doing as well, he comes across as like he's developed as a human being and not just a footballer. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, I'm just I just want West Ham to do well. I feel like we're fortune's always hiding is really something that sticks
It's
out to
very
me with
apt.
the club. It defines us, man. It
It
defines us.
does.
It defines us. I feel like we're a good team. I honestly feel like we've got good players. I honestly feel like we've got good
I
players.
mean, look, we've proved in recent times, even like in even this season, that we can actually put up a performance. You know, but the fact is that it's not regular enough. It's not consistent enough, and I think that needs working on. And it's that final ball really, because it's not like we're not in positions to create chances. because we are getting forward, we are getting in and around the box, we are getting the corners, the free kicks, but there's just no end product, and I think that needs to be worked on by the players, and I think some of the coaches need to kind of work on it a bit more than they are, because clearly something's not happening.
Well, one of the things with Potter, if we go back to Potter talking about Potter and the expectations, we're not really creating those many chances at the moment, goal scoring, and we're not getting many chances on goal. Brighton created more chances than we're creating at the moment a lot of the time. They maybe didn't. We'd like to think that we've got more quality than they had available then to finish those chances. So if we start creating more chances, maybe we'll start getting some more goals, because the likes of Bowen, he is clinical in front of goal, right? You give him a chance, he's going to score more often than not. But we're not that along that road of that development yet. But little steps. He's been here a short time. We can see the improvements, but I understand Damien's frustrations as well, because I have found the last few games a little bit tedious, I have to say. I just want us to be a bit more decisive going forwards.
Do you know what, Jeff? I haven't. I've backed Potter every single game. I backed Potter. I'm just getting doubts. My thing is he's playing this way to kind of coach certain aspects into their game, being putting bodies behind the ball when we haven't got it, and keeping the ball well. I just feel like the next evolution is to have a goal threat. If you can get all three of those, be tough to score against, be good on the ball, and create a goal threat.
Yeah.
Tick, tick, tick. I don't see what much else you really want from a football team, but.
And we have to factor in that, he has got some influential players missing, and he has got some holes in the squad that he probably wants to fill. So, I don't think anyone's like judging him or getting across his back right now, but just being candid about where we feel we're at this moment.
Yeah,
I don't know whether he should be much further along either. He's done a decent job since he's been in.
No, he has. I'm not questioning. I'm not questioning what he's done. I'm concerned about where he's going. Another thing is recruitment as well. Where I'm of the belief that we don't need an overhaul. I feel like if this group was happy, we wouldn't need an overhaul. I feel like if you were to add a couple of quality profiles in there, I feel like we could, if it was to take the sell of a Kudus,
in your
for
theory,
example.
though, mate.
Say that again, sorry, Budgie.
We've got players retiring, Damien. We've got players that are ending their contracts.
Yeah. I think I might overlook
things. Players that are on the desired list by other clubs. So we are gonna need to overhaul a bit. Whether we like it or not, mate.
I think I overlook things like that. I feel like I look at the 11 and those around it and think to myself, right, you got to improve that.
Yeah,
I'm always a big believer that
you're also looking at Fabianski, you're looking at Creswell. These are two players that are due to end their career at West Ham in the
I can
summer.
see Fabianski being here next year.
I can see them both being retained, because let's be honest, right? Since Potter arrived and he started using Creswell on the odd occasion, well, in fact, it's been a little bit more than the odd occasion now. It's probably half of the games that he's overseen that Creswell's featured. And I think that Creswell, he might just be asked to, play that role, be there if I need you. I'm not going to overwork you, but I'm going to need a steady left-sided fullback.
Yeah,
or
I don't know if
more
Chris
like
could
a
play
centre back,
fullback though.
even, like he has been. You know, I don't. I wouldn't mind him being kept on as a squad player. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest. It really wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't bother me too much. But yeah, I just feel like
And we've also
I
got
see a comment usual suspect made. I really this is something I've got a big problem with. I feel like Lopetegui has muddied us. I feel like I, I've not kind of moved on massively from the summer when it was like, oh, we've got this player, we've got this player, we've got this player. Oh, we replaced Zuma with Tadibo and all these things, kind of thing. I kind of I stayed put there a little bit because I didn't like what Lopetegui did after that, to be honest. So I'm kind of like stayed at the point of, well, that's where we were, kind of thing. Lopetegui bit doesn't exist, kind of thing, and I just I feel like he missed a lot of tricks, Lopetegui. I feel like if he went the direction that you were saying, Budgie, of 4-2-3-1, um, and just left the front four to go and play, I think we'd have been looking better than we had before. Because I feel like the quality of player is there. Like the club posted a video of us playing Wolves, and it was when Lingard was playing. And I think when we had Lingard, that 6 months was the best we
probably
have been.
some of the best football I've seen in the modern
I
era.
thought we were fantastic that period. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought we were fantastic during that period. I thought Lingard, adding
That was
Lingard into
just
the
after
mix.
lockdown, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I could pretty much tell you the team. It was Fabianski, Kufal, Zuma, Ogbonna, Krez, Deck,
Yeah,
Suchek. You had Bowen on the right, and then you had
yeah.
Fornals. You had Fornals and
Or
Ben
Ben Rama.
Rama, who he was kind of making his mind up. Who do I play left wing? Who do I play as the 10? And Antonio up front. And what he did was threw Lingard into the mix, and we were flipping brilliant. We were really good. Like we were tough to break down, and then when we went forward, we were quick, but we were clinical as well. Like it
Yeah,
was like we didn't need many chances to score goals, but we were creating a decent amount of chances, and we were tough to break down.
Yeah,
And
clinical. We were clinical.
exactly.
yeah, I
And
think a lot of
we
it.
were very fortunate in the respect that Lingard wanted to put himself in the window or back into favour at Man United or whatever the case
I
was,
wish his
right?
mentality was not that. I really wish his mentality was, I found a home. That is really
Yeah,
what I was
that's
hoping
what
for
we all
Lingard.
wanted,
Do you
mate.
know the
Because
thing
of
with
what we
Lingard
saw.
was
But
he
the fact is
probably
that we
had.
benefited
Sorry, buddy.
from. Yeah, no, we benefited from Lingard's selfishness, if you like,
Almost,
um,
yeah.
because we qualified for Europe with his assistance. His stats were incredible. What was it? 16 games, 9 goal involvements.
Something crazy, yeah.
You know, um, a brace on his bloody debut against Villa.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really good stats, and it kind of put West Ham into Europe, right? And even without him, we got to the quarterfinals, I believe it was. Was it the first time? Or no, semi, wasn't it?
What was it? Semi.
Frankfurt in the semi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's semis, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
As it was in 67 or whatever it was,
yeah.
So
We
here's
no,
the thing about Lingard, right? When he came here, he probably had the best 6 months of his career, personally.
I
And
reckon so. I
and
reckon.
Damien's right. It was the perfect opportunity for him to go, do you know what? I found a home. I've really enjoyed my football. I've been playing brilliant. He played himself back on the verge of the England squad.
Of course he did.
And unfortunately, don't want to. Don't know whether I should say character. I don't know if that's the right word, but obviously his mindset where he was, he didn't have that outlook and go, do you know what? I've played in the best football of my career here.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, I'm going to go there. The fans love me. I really fit in. The team looked great with him in it.
Yeah.
Got an important number at the club.
And then
Looked
it
happy in the
wasn't
dressing
enough, and
room.
he went off wherever. And look what's happened. He's come to absolutely nothing. You just
Literally.
think
We
his
have got
personal
Paqueta if he'd have
story
stayed.
could have
I
been
think.
so much better.
I
But
agree. I agree. It was a shame because everything was going right for him.
yeah,
Everything. I remember he really took to the group as well.
yeah,
I remember like videos coming out of him and Rice having a little dance around
they
and
all doing the band thing on the bleating pitch, weren't
yeah,
they?
yeah, yeah. They were.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant little group. Honestly,
Yeah,
that was a really good little group. I like the way we played like that. Oh, you know, I was saying about how we were clinical in them in that during that period. I'm a big believer in inverted wingers. I'm a big believer in inverted wingers. I feel like Bowen coming off the right onto his left foot is always going to result in something more productive than someone trying to run like Kudus, for example, who's been stuck out on the left this season. His nature taking him down the blind alley. I'm a big believer in you want a lefty on the right and a righty on the left if you're playing a front three, and their natural instinct is to go towards goal. But just little
But
tricks missed by this
for
team that.
me, Damien,
Mm,
for me, I mean, I like the fact that Bowen can use his right and does regularly.
yeah.
You know, and so therefore can transition into an orthodox winger, if you like.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
creating goals as well, or creating chances, right?
yeah. I mean, he does cross in with his right foot
Yeah,
occasionally. You know, um, he likes to come in onto his left to score goals, but he's not afraid to give an assist and put a great cross in either with his
I think the
right.
thing is,
And
defenders knew that he was going to cut inside, but now he can go outside them and use his right foot. I think
yeah,
that's where he's developed his game and made him a stronger player for himself,
yeah.
and
But
that
by
helps us right
seeing
massively.
players like Creswell and Emerson breaking forward and getting beyond, like into the forward line, if you like, and whipping balls in with their left foot, or on the right side, Soufal doing it,
Mhm,
whipping a right-footed ball in like an outswinger.
mm,
I mean, sometimes, look at how many assists Soufal's had
mhm,
by doing that.
mhm. I still
His
think
numbers
he's a decent
are very
little
good.
asset for the Premier League team.
It's a shame Soufal's quality into the box isn't a little bit better than it, which sounds silly because he's got quite a lot of assists, but actually the opportunities he has to deliver good balls in the box that he's made a mess of, right?
Yeah, and there's also been
If his
times when
delivery was better, oh my God,
he's been
he'd
in
be right up
shooting
there.
positions and messed it right up as well. You know,
He got a
but
lot of assists last season.
listen,
He did, yeah.
you can't fault the man for his determination, grit, and dedication to the club.
I think both
But
the Czech
having
boys
said
are like
that,
that.
I think we've vastly upgraded in Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
I would like to say to any Man United fans that may even view this that I think you were wrong when you said that Aaron Wan-Bissaka's great in defence but not very good at up in attack. I would beg to differ. I think he's been proven to be quite useful breaking forward. I like the fact that while he's forward, he can still tackle and defend further up the pitch, if you like. And he's got the pace and ability to get back when needed as well. So I think we've grossly upgraded on Soufal. But I think it's still
He carries
Soufal
the
is
ball as well,
still
Budgie.
an option.
Soufal doesn't do that, right? That's a real major difference between
Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka and Kufel. Like Wan-Bissaka is happier with the ball at his feet. He will carry the ball up the pitch. Sufel doesn't really do that. He looks
No,
for the
but he
ball up the
does do
line and
little,
run up the
one
pitch.
twos and stuff, and gets up there.
Kufal will get a crossing earlier though than that.
Yeah,
I'm a massive Aaron Wan-Bissaka fan, but that is one thing that you're not getting from Aaron Wan-Bissaka is getting the ball out of his feet and just putting it in the box. When sometimes that is an effective thing to do with
Of
Aaron.
course, agreed.
With
And
Aaron
sometimes
Wan-Bissaka,
his decision
will
making can
carry
be
it.
a little dubious, I suppose. But
haven't got a
I
lot of
think in
targets
general,
for
he's
him though.
been one of the best players of the squad this season. One of.
Which I think that's where he's been effective a couple of times when he's cut into the box, and then the pullbacks have created good chances because that's where. But I think if he'd have crossed the ball earlier, he hasn't got the targets actually in the areas to hit them. So actually, sometimes his decision
When there's
making has been
targets
quite good
there,
like
I
that.
would imagine it would probably be a very effective outlet. We've been going for over an hour. Are you guys all right for a little while, or?
Yeah, I could do this all night, to be honest. There's nothing. I'll talk
I'm
about
all right for a little while.
So,
I might go and get myself a beer though if I'm staying on, Budgie. So you have to bear
well,
with
you're
me
welcome
for
to
a
do
couple
that,
of
mate.
minutes.
You're welcome to do that, Jeff.
Give me a second and I'll return.
I wish I could reach through the screen and grab one off you. So Usual's put up here any credence in the rumours that it's going well for the Paqueta inquiry. To be honest with you, Usual, I'm the wrong person to ask because I get most of my info from West Ham Network, Hammers Chat, occasionally from Claret and Booze, and the other one as well, West Ham Fan TV. So, that's where most of my information comes from, mate. So they're better placed to tell you than I am. I wouldn't know. I've heard from those sources that that there are some questions to be answered, basically, by the FA. So, who knows? I don't know.
I hope he gets off. Do you know what? I'll be honest. From a personal perspective, I don't like to kind of air my views too heavily for question marks of who's listening. But to be honest, when Paqueta got accused of that, my
Yeah.
biggest regret was not getting the 85 million. I'll be honest. I would have liked to seen that 85 million go towards the side. I think Paqueta is a brilliant footballer, but once we got Kudus, I thought, right, there's your Paqueta replacement. Cash in on Paqueta and build the rest of the side. That's how I looked at it. I was thinking, right, we've got Kudus now, so if we sell Paqueta, then you plonk Kudus in the middle and buy the other bits. But he's another one that Paqueta, Bowen, and Kudus, having those as your three brightest attacking talents, all being left-footed players, it causes a conundrum. I questioned it at the time. Do you remember Moyes just played them as a front three last
Yeah.
season? He just said, "Go on, use three, go and play up front."
And
I'm
do
not
what you want up there.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But get the
They
ball.
looked all right at times like that
Yeah.
when they
They
interchanged.
did.
Yeah.
Especially when you see like Bowen popping up on the left-hand side, for example, with Paqueta or whatever, and then playing little 1-2s and mate, it was quite tidy to see.
The way I see it is it wasn't the right thing to do then, and I used to question it, right? But I think it might be the right thing to do now. Like just say use three, go up top, and then create a little back five structure behind them. But Somerville missing Somerville. It is that left hand side, Budge and Jeff. It's that left hand side. You're looking at it and you're thinking,
The good thing with Somerville is that in his last season in the Championship, not only was he named like the player of the league, he was rated the top player in the league by the league or the supporters or whatever. But he was like, number one. But also, his goal tally, I think, was something like 60-40 in favour of his left foot.
Really?
Yeah. He scored
He
quite a
scored
number
more
of
on his left foot than his
goals.
right foot, yeah?
I agreed a few of them were tap-ins, but it was something like a 60-40 split.
Got to be in the right
in
place,
favour
right?
of his left foot.
If you're getting a few tap-ins, you're doing something right.
Yeah, of course you are. And, that's the sort of player that Somerville is. He is, I'll tell you what he is. He is, I think he's like a Foden type
Yeah,
attacker.
he is. Yeah, he is. He is. He is. He is. I agree. Because he's the thing with Somerville, I was going to call him Cream. I got a bit of a soft spot for Somerville, but
I have too.
yeah, the thing with Somerville, this is what I know. When we were on the verge of signing him, my concerns were his physicality. I was thinking to myself, he's is he going to do the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like Bowen does, for example, and to be honest, anytime he was asked to do that, you can see he's and this is why I will not discredit players in this kind of breath. When some of you could see he was applying himself to that task, and I was saying this to my brother a couple of days ago. One thing, this is a trick that I think Lopetegui missed. When Moyes got wingers, right? Whenever Moyes bought a winger, we were never the kind of club who was going to go and pay for the finished article kind of thing. We were never the club who were going to go and pay £65 million for a winger. So we went and done things like get Bowen or Ben Rama from the Championship, right? And what Moyes would do, even with Bowen, and with Ben Rama, the process kind of carried on throughout the duration of his time here. And even with Kudus a little bit, what he did was he'd give them 70 minutes, then he'd say, right, but what he'd want from the 70 minutes is you need to do everything for the 70 minutes. You need to go back, forward for the 70 minutes. If you look flat on your feet, I'll take you out. And then the next week, it'd be 75 minutes. And then the next week, it'd be 78 minutes. And I feel like that's what Lopetegui should have done with Somerville. I feel like he should have said, "You're the left-sided attacker. You you go and give me 65 minutes, 70 minutes, but it has to be the proper job. It needs to be getting up when you need to, getting back when you need to. And if you look flat out exhausted, I'll take you off and put someone else there, and then slowly build him up." He just didn't fancy it. He looked at Somerville and he said, "No, I'd rather play Kudus on the left because I know I'm going to get the work rate from Kudus." But I feel like we missed the trick. And then what I feel like happened after that is so he's finally got the sack, Lopetegui, and Potter's looked at that squad and he's seen a wing back in Somerville. And the thing about playing wing back is it is a graft of a role. And what he didn't realise with Somerville is Somerville actually has lost match fitness because Lopetegui never played him. And so he's not actually getting the player that we got from Leeds. He's actually getting a little bit of a kind of a unfit version because he never played the minutes. So from kind of you're basically taking an unmatch fit Somerville and asking him to play the toughest role in the team at wing back, and I think that might have caused his injury. This is where you need to try and not chop and change with managers too much. I feel because but then was Steiden here? Was Steiden here for Potter's first game? Surely
Yeah, I
Steiden will
think
say
it was,
something
yeah.
like that to him. When I see Somerville play right wing back, I thought to myself, this got a bit of trouble written on it. I don't think he's going to cope with the workload. And people were saying he had a really good game, and I do agree he put the right effort in, but I wasn't surprised he pulled up that game because I just think the workload was too much for him. So it's a strange one with Somerville. The thing I like about Somerville though, and this is why I'm adamant that when he does come back, he's played as the left-sided attacker. If you watch his highlights for Leeds last season, he gets the ball out on the left, and because he's so small, yeah, and so tidy with the ball, he's manipulating the ball in a space where all these kind of typical 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1" fullbacks or whatever, or centre backs even, they're not even operating in that kind of small amount of space. So he's manipulating the ball a couple of foot to the right, and bang, he got so much control over the ball that it just. I've seen he scored so many goals for Leeds last season, where
Yeah,
he's the keeper. He's done it so precisely because he's a small guy and he's getting like good manipulation of the ball that the keeper's just rooted and just looking at it like there was absolutely no point in me diving for that because it's it's uh it's 7 foot away from me. I'm not going to be able to get that. So I think with I feel like there's a player in Somerville. I think he's got deficits, but I think he's got really high strengths as well.
That
So
lack of finishing, though, or
I think he's a good finisher. I
yeah,
think he's a
sure,
good
but
finisher.
that is what's been missing for what we've seen of him at West Ham. So he has had a couple of really good opportunities, and to a degree, he's fluffed his lines. Whereas you're saying, obviously, when he was at Leeds, those chances, he was putting them away like nothing. So some of that's probably down to he hasn't had that many opportunities and a bit of lack of minutes and building of confidence. But he has had a few opportunities that you would expect him to do better. And if it had been in the Leeds form, he would have scored, right?
Mm.
That's just been missing that final edge. But I agree. I think his work rate, and a couple of times we saw him played on the left. And you saying about Kudus was playing there because he could rely on Kudus's work rate. Well, I
Mm.
actually think a couple of times Somerville played down that side in that position. I think he showed that he outworked Kudus in some areas, and he came
yeah.
back and protected his fullback and supported his fullback brilliantly. I think at times,
My only
that
concern,
was part of what that kind of convinced me. I'm like, this boy should be starting. He's people were worried about his slight frame and is he physical enough and all this. But when them couple of games when he put in those performances, I'm like, no, he is.
yeah,
He tackles, he gets forward, he gets up and down. He's got what you need.
Yeah.
yeah. Me personally, I would have invested faith into Somerville from the off, pretty much. I would have said you're my left-sided attacker, and off we go, kind of thing. But yeah, I like Somerville. I like Somerville. Another thing about Somerville, I think he's got a good personality, Somerville as well. I see a lot of
Oh, he's a
interviews.
sweet lad.
Yeah, he seems it. I think he's tiny. People may kind of not see this in him, but I think he's got a little bit of leadership qualities.
Yeah,
I
I would
hope
agree.
I hope Potter taps into. I feel like there's a lot of leaders in this dressing room that if you actually tapped into, you could get a.
I think we've been fortunate with that though for a number of years now, though, Damien.
But we don't tap
I think
into it much. We
I
don't tap
think
into it.
yeah, I think
I'll be honest,
Moyes
we don't.
I think Moyes kind of established that trend when when he had Noble, and he had Ogbonna, he had Declan Rice, he had, like as I said, Mikel Antonio. He's kind of got leadership quality about him, and especially when we had who Jimmy flip over on the left hand side over there. What's his name? Snodgrass. When he
Yeah,
first took over,
right.
he had Snodgrass there. And so, like all of these players have got leadership qualities. And I think that's become kind of like the club mantra, you know, sort of thing within the dressing room. And I think, even with the faults that we know he had and West Ham had under him, I think Lopetegui even maintained that to some degree. Because you
Mm-hmm.
look at Tadibo, I think he was a great replacement for Kurt Zuma
Mm-hmm.
myself. You know, um, and you look at players like Carlos Soler, he's very vocal. You know, and he tried to kind of maintain that sort of leadership type player mantra, and I think Potter will do the same.
You
You
look
know,
around that squad, right? So I'm pretty sure Fabianski's captained his country. Kilman was a young captain at Wolves. Tadibo seems like a big personality. Um, then you've got Suchek, who's the captain of his country. You've got Alvarez, who's the captain of his country.
yeah,
Bowen's the current captain.
yeah,
Kudus is the captain of his country. Somerville, I've seen supposedly Somerville was a big reason that Nonto was because there was a couple of years where Nonto at Leeds was seen as a disruptive player kind of thing. He was like, I want to move there, I want to move there, I don't want to be here. Supposedly, him him piling up with Somerville was helped him kind of turn a corner on that. Supposedly, when we signed Somerville, him and Nonto were housemates, so they lived together. So Somerville, I always go to call him Cree. It's like I know him, but with Somerville, I think he took him under his wing. I've got a feeling that he had a bit to do with Kudus at least towing the line at a certain stage this season. I think he would have said to Kudus a couple of times, "Come on, mate, like let's like let's try and pull in the right direction, man." But I don't know, but I like Somerville. I like Somerville. He gets,
yeah.
I like
But
Somerville.
you
I
know,
I
love
think
them
like
all.
Potter's
I love
missing
them
quite a
all.
big asset there. Actually, I think it's
yeah,
quite a big asset that he's
I
not
mean,
got at his
like
disposal.
you said, well, you kind of, you kind of said that, there's been like a bit of a development of friendship between Caduce and Somerville,
Yeah,
and I think that with this injury to Somerville, it hasn't been able to flourish on the pitch between them, right?
yeah. I think he
And I
refused
think
to
that,
play both of them, though. That's what got on my nerves, Lopetegui. It's like he refused to play both.
yeah, I
I
mean,
would have
I think
liked
that,
both pitch.
you can play Somerville and Caduce together as well as you can play Emerson and Paquette together, for me.
Yeah.
So,
Me personally, I
you've
would
got
have
a choice
played.
of left sided, link ups there with those two options.
Yeah,
And I think Paqueta and Somerville would link up really well. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
they would over on that side, with
With that
Emerson,
team, it's a strange
you
one.
know.
It's there's question marks there. With that team, I felt like the way I looked at that team last season. Sorry to get so detailed, but the way I looked at that team last season is you've got guaranteed starters, and then there's a few that you mess around with, basically. So one week you might play that one week you might play that one, and the ones that fell into that bracket, I remember the ones that fell into the maybe bracket of dependent on game was Somerville, Suchek, and Paqueta. And the thing is with Paqueta, I don't think he sees himself as a rotational player. I think he sees himself as someone who has to be on that pitch. But me personally, when I looked at that squad in terms of profile and ability, not so much mentality, I would have said to Paqueta, you play most of the games, but not all the games. Whereas someone like Bowen would have played all the games. Just how I looked at it. But I feel like there's a bit of an imbalance in that team, man. I feel like there's an imbalance in that team. I feel like it's very difficult to get all your best players in there. That's the I think that's a problem with that team. I think I think that's why some people were saying just leave Bowen to be the striker, because then you could have got Paqueta as the 10 and then Somerville and Bowen either side. I'm not sure that wouldn't have been the best way to go with that team.
You can't have Somerville and Bowen on the side and Bowen as a striker, though.
No, Kudus and Somerville either side of Bowen and
Yeah,
Paqueta as the
yeah,
10.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But then
Well,
it,
Bowen's got a lot, but I know he's not a centre forward, and I know lots of people don't like it, but he has got a lot better at it.
oh yeah, no, I was one of the people who said, no, not Bowen up front, but then he just kept delivering, and I'm one of these people. I will change my mind if I see evidence otherwise.
I
But
don't think he's a number 9, though. I'm not
no,
saying he should be. I'm just saying, through having to play that role, I think actually he's developed his game quite nicely, adapted quite well, and as an emergency striker, I don't think he's the worst option in the world.
no, me neither, I think he always does the graft, doesn't he? You can tell when he goes and presses the ball, and like it can be a bit of a thankless task being the lead of the press. It's kind of like all right, I've got 2 yards near the ball, but now it's gone kind of thing. You can tell he does that deep breath and then off, right, fucking, I'm gonna go again kind of thing, and he
Um,
sucks it up, though, and he's got
it's not too
magnificent
good
work
for him
rate.
to have to compete up against like balls up to him and compete against the centre backs, but he
Yeah.
does in situations receive the ball pretty well with his back to goal. If he can take it sort of chest height or anything, he gets control of that ball, turns, gets people in trouble.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, he he's definitely improved at it from being thrown up there. He's becoming much more rounded player, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what Potter wants to do now, because I think that team needs a clear identity. Like I was saying this at the beginning of the summer.
We need a focal point, I think. I still think
You
we need
think,
like
yeah,
a striker as the focal point of that team.
yeah, maybe, yeah, I think so, maybe, yeah, yeah,
And then
I,
not just as a lump it up, let the number 9 battle for it, but you know, a man in the box, a proper number 9, a proper
no, I agree.
striker. I think it just makes a difference to that team. And I know he hasn't Fulkrug available to him, and Ferguson hasn't been fit, but like he's played in the international break. Ferguson, Fulkrug's coming back. Surely between the two of them, he could get 90 minutes out of them against Wolves. Surely he'd get an hour out of Ferguson, or 70 minutes odd out of Ferguson, 15, 20 minutes out of Fulkrug, make up 90 minutes, or just play 70 minutes with Ferguson on and change the formation if he wants, or whatever he's going to do. I'm desperate to see. Well, I don't see us scoring lots of goals. I don't see it getting a lot better if we don't do something a bit different.
The thing he likes, the only thing I can kind of take from Potter is the first game against Villa. If that's if that shows how you want to play, then he kind of wants his centre forward to kind of on the halfway line get on the ball and turn as well. So it'd be it's interesting. It's an unbalanced side. It's an unbalanced side. Even the I think I think Steiden ballsed it up a bit in the summer. To be honest, he got good talent, but I feel like there was imbalances in that team, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But it's difficult. The
Right,
big
I'm going to change the subject, gentlemen,
Go on.
slightly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is random, I call this random shenanigans.
Yeah,
I'm going to call this little bit
This is the alien bit, isn't it?
speculation corner, right? Speculation corner. Now I'm going to throw a scenario at you.
Okay.
I heard today that Trent Alexander-Arnold may be off to Real Madrid.
Hmm.
Okay, and that the talks are ongoing and moving towards it looking more likely. So here's the speculation bit. Trent Alexander-Arnold goes to Real Madrid, and because Liverpool have been using him further upfield than they started off using him, they put in a huge bid for Jared Bowen. Does the club accept the bid?
They're not
What's
going to replace Bowen with.
no? What's the huge bid consist of? Put a number to it.
Okay, all right, I'll put a number to it. 85 million.
I don't think the club's selling for that, but maybe they'd be tempted. But I don't think they would. I think they'd want more than that to let him go.
I didn't say whether they would sell him, but would they accept the bid? Because let's be honest, with the contract that he's got, there must be something in it that says that, he will have, final say on any transfer offers or something, or a say in it at least, maybe not the final say. But I
Are
mean,
they
he
more?
wouldn't have signed an
Are they more
8-year
likely to
contract if
want
he was
Kudus than
looking at leaving.
Bowen? Are they more likely to want Kudus than Bowen?
Well, yeah, more likely. But I used Bowen as the example because he's the less likely one to leave.
With Kudus, Bowen, I think it'd take a big old offer to get Bowen out of his contract, wouldn't it? I don't know. It's a tough one, really.
Hmm.
Uh, the thing is, we have to go into next season with one of Kudus or Bowen. We can't lose both Bowen and Kudus. No way. So
There's no way we will.
there's no way we will. Did you say?
Yeah, no.
There's no way we
Bowen
will.
isn't going anywhere. Trust me.
No,
And
I
then
don't think. I don't. I mean, if they offered like really, really ridiculous money, then they probably couldn't say no. But I think it'd take a crazy offer to tempt Bowen and the club collectively. You've got to satisfy both, haven't you? I don't think he wants to go anywhere, does he?
no, I think Bowen will be here for the but Bowen will watch it unfold. I think I think there's some players in that dressing room who are getting a bit. Fuck me! I thought this was supposed to be. I thought we were going on a European charge. You know what I mean? Like when's that happening? But I think Bowen will. I think Bowen's got one more run in him. To be honest, I think he'll. Stick it out and see what happens in this next
Listen, I'm
transition.
convinced. I'm convinced, like Joan is, that Boeing is going nowhere. And as she says there, he's getting married in May and he loves living in East London. But the other thing, of course, is that he is kind of marrying into a West Ham family, right? And therefore, would he have committed his 8-year future to West Ham and then married into a West Ham family if he was looking? Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say now is that there must be something in his contract where he, as some say, in whether he can and can't be sold. Must be.
I think with player contracts, me personally, if you don't have a sell-on clause, I'm very black and white with these things. Me personally, if you don't have a sell-on clause, say for example, Aaron Creswell had 2 years left on his deal, and he didn't have a sell-on clause. To me, Aaron Creswell is worth whatever West Ham say he's worth. If West Ham say they want 80 million for him, then that's it. That's how I see it, and that's how I see it with a lot of these players. I'll be
Yeah.
honest, and that's the stance I would maintain. It's like Alvarez, for example. He might be getting itchy feet. If you're part of the plans, or I don't want to sell you, or I feel like we'll be left too short without you being here, I'm sorry, lad, but you're gonna have to stick it out. You signed the contract. We've been paying your wages. So, and the thing with me, gents, and I'll say this without a beer in me, anything, yeah. So this ain't Dutch courage or anything like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he'd stick it on me. But if needs be, if we were left in a room, I'm pretty sure he'd probably be the last one to leave. But we can have it out. I know it sounds silly, but I think these store. I feel like these managers that used to get into disputes with players like that. I think sometimes it's needed. to be honest, because players get their head turned, and at the end of the day, the club, no man is bigger than the club, and I believe in contracts. I believe in contracts because the way I see it is, if you've got someone throwing a wobbly saying they want to leave, if you're saying to them, you're sitting on the you sit on the bench then, or you don't play, or I won't include you in the match day squad, or you don't come training. It's your career you're pissing up the wall as well, because the world see you as the world see you as as a problem basically. So it's like Jadon Sancho, isn't it? No man will. Uh, he's, Sancho's left in limbo at the moment. Supposedly Chelsea want to send him back to Man United, and Man United can't wait to get rid of him. So it's it gets sticky. But I don't know. I just, to me personally, if you don't have a release clause in your contract, uh, then you're whatever we value you at, and you've got no two ways about that. You sign the contract, so and you've not complained every single time the money's been deposited in your account. So put up or shut up, basically. But yeah, so I don't know. The only one. This is the thing. This would be me if I was Potter. The only person I'm taking into consideration of a maybe is Kudus, because Kudus has got a release clause. So if someone comes in and swoops Kudus, you've lost him, and there's nothing you can say about that, and that's absolutely fine. I'll shake your hand. Goodbye. Best of luck with your next endeavours. The rest of them, they're West Ham players, and that's the sheer fact of it. Like and what's written can't lie, basically. So me personally, if I was players go up and down as well. Players go up and down. I've seen it with this group in particular. You go on a free game winning streak all of a sudden, and they'll soon be happy. But it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Me personally, I don't really have problems with people like that. I've never. I generally have people warm to me. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's a big task. It always gets on my nerves when people say, "Oh, these people are going to want to leave" and stuff like that. I'm thinking to myself, well, they're under contract, so who cares if they want to leave? If we're planning to build a team around you, then like I said, like I feel like once a couple of players go on a 3 game winning streak, all of a sudden the mood changes. So I'm a big believer in that. I don't think any of these players are really unhappy with their situation in life. To be honest, I'm sure they've all got a beautiful flat in Canary Wharf, or a big old house in
Essex somewhere.
where exactly. So like.
Well,
Oh,
Damien, I don't want
we're
to
not
cut
winning
you off.
every game. So what? You know what I mean? Suck it up, and we will do. I
Yeah.
just
I don't want to cut you off, mate, but
go
there
on.
is a comment back here that I've styled. Here it is.
Right.
I'm just going to finish off with this. We'll go with you first, Damien. What would your starting 11 be against Wolves, and in what formation, please?
So I'm going off of a natural evolution of what Potter's been doing. So rather than looking at that squad and thinking what I think is the best 11, I'm thinking what Potter's direction should be, basically. So like
Is
I was saying,
Paqueta available?
that's a good question. Is
Well,
Paqueta available? Are
Well,
we
I mean,
saying,
he played today, but I'm just posing it out there to Budgie. Like, is Paqueta in the equation? Is anyone allowed to pick him or not?
well, why not? He played
Okay, yeah,
today,
so he is. Yeah, no, that's fine.
so
That's fine.
clearly he's available for selection, even though it was
So,
a friendly.
no, sound with that.
The
Yeah.
thing is, he's innocent till proven guilty, in which case you can go about your daily life. And his daily life is football. So, yes, he's available,
Right,
in my
Paqueta's
opinion.
available. I would go Areola in goal.
Yep.
I'd go Mavropanos just to start everyone, just to get everyone off,
on.
and let get the bad one
Yeah,
out of the
come
way
on.
first. Get the bad one out of the way first, because I know I'd
No, go on, carry on, mate. That's okay so
Mavropanos.
far.
I'd go to Debo right centre back. I'd go Kilman left centre back.
Right. Yeah.
I'd go Aaron Wan-Bissaka right wing back. I'd go Souček right centre mid. I'd go Alvarez left centre mid. Left wing back is a. You know what? It's always been Scholes and Emerson, which is the question mark between everyone. There's another name that I want to throw into that equation as well, which is Guilherme. I wouldn't mind seeing him given a go at left wing back, but a left wing back, let's say, whoever's had the best week at training, let's say, and I'd go a front three of Kudus, Bowen, and Paqueta, and just let them play. I'd probably say between Bowen and Paqueta, between Kudus and Bowen, decide between you who goes right and who goes up front, and I'd let Paqueta just be his own man on the left. That's what I'd do. Yeah. So basically, from the Everton game, I would play Alvarez over JWP, and I will push. I'd push Paqueta further forward and say to Alvarez and Souček, your job is to protect that back three, back five kind of thing, and give Kudus and Bowen a little bit of support up there. Really, I don't like seeing them isolated all the time.
Play between the boxes, basically.
Yeah, the thing is, I would say a big thing of that five at the back system is you've got to go wide. You have to go wide a lot. Like you have to try and utilize those wing backs. So yeah, that's what I would do. But it's an unbalanced squad. That's the thing. Missing Somerville's a problem in that squad. But we haven't got another Somerville. That's the thing. But no, he's.
Well, what
he's
about you then, Jeff?
Go
what
on,
about
Jeff.
you, Jeff? Where are you going?
Areola in goal.
Yeah.
I'd start with Scholes at left back, Kilman to Debo, Wan-Bissaka right back.
Yeah.
Alvarez in front of them. I'd play Paqueta on the left-hand side of the midfield. Kudus and Souček in the middle, and Bowen on the right, and I'd put Ferguson up front.
Fair play.
4-1-4-1, yeah.
And I put Paqueta there because I think he helped Scholes more than Kudus would. But I don't mind Kudus and Paqueta switching around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I play
Souček.
Souček.
However the play goes, they mix it.
Bowen, I kind of want using that. And I kind of want Alvarez to not go past the halfway line, right? So that if Scholes and Wan-Bissaka want and they take their opportunities to get forward when they can.
Yeah.
And I think Souček is over JWP because we're potentially getting some crosses into the box. If we've got Ferguson there as a centre forward and someone like Souček arriving in the box, I think he's going to be more effective getting on the end of things than
clattering him on the way through.
So it might not be the most exciting, but I think it could be effective.
Yeah, that works for me. That works for me. Okay, so
mine. Souček goal I'm seeing there.
So mine would be, like I suggested earlier, a 4-2-3-1 formation.
I'm pretty happy with 4-2-3-1 as well, if I'm honest.
I would like to see Areola in goal. Across the back, I would have Emerson on the left because I think he provides more going forward when needed. if needed. Wan-Bissaka clearly on the right. He's earned that spot. And I would like to see Tadibo and Kilman in the centre. And then the two in front for me would be Alvarez and, need I say it, Lucas Paqueta, because I think he plays the 6-8 role really well. So I would have them two as the two in front of the four. And then the three across the middle would be Kudus in the centre, Somerville on the left, Bowen on the right.
Somerville's not available.
No, sorry, not Somerville.
Soler, are you playing there?
No. Guilherme on the left.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to see Guilherme on the left there. And then I would like to see Evan Ferguson up front. In fact, I would really like to see Mikel Antonio, but that's not going to happen. But I thought I might drop that in just for the sake of Toa and usual and that love to give me a little dig about Antonio.
Yeah, and you can't have Scholes and Guilherme down that side, can you? So you'd have to play Emerson if you're going to play
Yes,
Guilherme.
that's why I made the mistake with Somerville. I got the two mixed up. Both young lads.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Guilherme get a shot. That would be my starting 11. If it doesn't work, then I would clearly have, maybe a switcheroo and put Kudus out there and push Paqueta further forward and bring Soucek in next to Alvarez.
Yeah.
That would be my little switcheroo.
We've got good players. We have good players. It's annoying that we. It's annoying that we actually. I honestly say I've been pushing this point over the last few days to this fan base. Basically, I think we've got good players. I just think there's imbalances. I don't. This is the thing. I feel like when you're constantly writing things like Alvarez is a liability, Soucek can't pass a ball, this one, that one, I think it's devaluing good players. I'll be honest. I actually think they're good players, but I just think it's an unbalanced squad. That's my my thing with this. I think that's going to be a big thing with.
It's quite strange how none of us listed that man there now that he's fit. Fulkrug.
I don't think he's 90 minutes fit though, is he?
It's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said at the beginning of the summer as well, Budge. All of us come up with completely different 11s, and different shapes, different 11s, and that's the thing. And that was my thing when that summer window closed. I was like, what is your strongest 11 there, kind of thing. All three of us would have answered differently, and that's where I feel. That's why I see us. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I agree, John. I just see another comment from Brendan as well. Yeah, I'd hurl Antonio out there as well. I'm sure he can do it. But
mate, listen, if he was fit and playing, and fully, ready to go,
no,
play him in a heartbeat, because I think he is the best hold-up centre forward we've had in so many years.
Yeah,
I think John Hartson was probably one.
We talk about the likes of Antonio, Soucek. I'm going to put Noble in this bracket, and you probably know where I'm coming from when I get there, right?
Players with heart.
We seem to love at this club at the moment, the fan base seem to love to have some kind of figure that they have to direct all their frustration at, right? Noble was a victim of it for a couple of years towards the end of his career. Yeah, he's fucking washed up. He's fucking hell. He played all season needing a back operation, having injections before games, and everyone's going, he's fucking shit. Yeah, he should have been on getting surgery, and he went, no, I fucking needed, right? We had an injury crisis.
I'm the captain of this club. I'm going to play.
Yeah, and this is the kind, and everyone's like getting on his fucking back. Antonio has had it. right? Fan base has been all over his back at times, right?
Yeah.
Suchek gets it on the fucking regular, right? These types of players over the years have been just cult heroes, and yet in this modern age, they seem to be like criticised no end.
Mhm.
Crazy who gets it as well, Jeff. It's
Um,
absolutely insane who gets it as well. Honestly, like the players you named, right? You got Mark, who is man and boy at West Ham. He's the
Yeah,
one person associated in that club
and they were
where
slaughtering him at one stage.
the thing. The I would give Mark Noble any role in that club. Honestly, other if you are from sporting director to manager, I'd give Noble any role in that club. I swear to you, he lives and breathes it. I know he's absorbed every little bit of everything we've absorbed all the way, kind of thing. I just, go and get your badges, Nobes. Go
he's
and get
lived it
your
from
bloody
7 or 8 years old, doesn't he?
Go and get your badges, Nobes. Go and get your badges. You're wasted, man. You're wasted not getting your badges, Noble. Honestly, what do you make of that? What do you make of that?
I think
I get he's
Mark
playing the
Noble.
goal between youth and first team at the moment, but
I think Mark
Oh,
Noble is one of those kinds of guys that, a bit like Trevor Brooking, right, where he will serve the club in any way the club asks of him,
yeah,
right? And if the club said to him, right, Mark, time to go and get your badges, he's gonna go and get them. Trust
mm,
me, right? At the moment, they're asking him to do a number of roles. One of them being, scouting for the youth and scouting for potential, first team players, etc. as well, on top of everything that everyone else is doing in that department.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, he's asked to, liaise between maybe the media and the manager if the manager isn't available or something. Mark Noble would face the press conferences if he was asked to do it.
Yeah, he
Right now,
would.
right. So Mark Noble is one of those guys, as Trevor Brooking was. You know, I use him because he's probably the most recent example that most people watching this would remember. Oh, sorry, the most distant example. The club have had 2 or 3 of them in the past, and and Billy Bonds was another one. But Mark Noble one day will do his badges at the request of the club, or somebody at the club might suggest it, and it'll spread like wildfire because that's the sort of thing that does. And one day we'll see Mark Noble taking a few, um, training sessions and stuff. I mean, he's already done a couple of youth training sessions.
Yeah, they look
So
good.
he will, only as a mentor, not as a coach. Which is a very different role. But at senior level, he needs to be coaching, doesn't he? Let's be fair. And it's
I,
not just football stuff that he can coach these players about. He can coach them about being West Ham, which has been lacking a little bit. And I think Graham Potter is kind of getting it that a little bit now. He said, in one of his interviews, it's not until you walk through the doors you realise just how big the club is and what the representation of this club means
I
to so
totally
many
agree with that.
people.
I
You know,
totally agree with that. It is it is obviously biased us being West Ham fans, but we are a fantastic club, and I will not be told otherwise.
mm,
And I think people do notice that from the outside, but then again, like you say, Budge, when you actually come into it, it's like they're not just a romanticized club. They're actually a huge club. Like I feel like we would have. It was us and Newcastle, which were the kind of untapped giants. Like someone who just with a little bit of I don't know. I feel like I always feel like we're so close, West Ham, so close. I feel like we're so close all the time. I even think the league table's really deceiving. I think, like when someone told me we're actually nearer Champions League places than a relegation zone, actually on points, I believe it because I think to myself, I see the way the league's gone. It's that vicious cycle now. It's sad to be honest. I'm glad we're the right side of it in this day and age, but it's quite sad that there seems to just be that bottom three and the promoted sides that are just going to do a little role reversal, and it'd be very very difficult for you're going to have to be pretty shit to get sucked into that because we have been bloody shit this season and we've still avoided it by like a landslide. So touch wood. Touch wood. We pick up a few more points, but
I'm going to come to this comment, look, Damien, because I want to kind of bring things to a close in a minute.
yeah,
But Brendan's saying that people are saying that players are not loyal to clubs anymore. Creswell, Antonio, 10 plus years. Fabianski, 7. Bowen, Socek, 6 years. So we have loyal players. And we have players that are signing long-term contracts as well, you know, that maybe have been promoted from youth or, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he signed a 7-year contract, you know.
he's a
So
big.
loyalty does exist in football. You
Yeah.
just got to play for the right club. And West Ham seems to be one of them clubs that is the right club, you know. And on that note, I am going to bring things to a close unless you've got anything else to say. Hey, Damien?
Go on, Damien.
God, I just come on, Potter, man. Come on, brother. Grab the ball by the horns, man. Grab the ball by the horns and get us back heading in the right direction, mate. Get us heading back in the right direction. I'm of belief that there is a good group there, and if you can get them all for one for all, I feel like there is something in that group. I feel like there's quality in that group, basically, and I feel like we need to just put it together, basically. But a thing that does us as well, I won't hang on for too long, but a thing that always does us, and it done us last season a lot, is international breaks. We
Does everybody, mate?
it does us a lot because I think we're I say this to Russ all the time. We're quite a top heavy team. Like I think the teams around us are very much kind of littered with good players. I feel like we've got a little core of very good players, and then it kind of drops. And then
Just think how Man City feel though, Damien.
oh,
Both of their starting 11s are internationals.
yeah. They must be empty at the moment. Oh, Pep's there by himself
He's
at the
playing
moment.
all these kids and
when
reserves.
does Kudus play?
Sorry?
When
Yeah, is
he
he
played
fit?
Kudus
yesterday.
played last
So-
night.
So that's it. Where does he got to come from?
Ghana. He played in Accra last
And
night.
and obviously Alvarez has been away the other side of the world. Paqueta didn't go,
No. Paqueta,
So-
that's why Paqueta played today.
and then the others are, I mean, European. So because Alvarez usually gets back pretty.
And we're not
fucked,
playing
but
till
there's-
Tuesday, is
There's
it?
quite
Or
a big
Wednesday?
there's quite a big gap. Fortunately for us, we don't play till Tuesday,
Is
so
it Tuesday or Wednesday we
actually
play?
like almost a week between them playing. I
Yeah.
mean, we might actually be all right after this one for a
Yeah.
change.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just that cohesion, though.
Yeah.
I think Potter needs to do one of his trips
Enough
to the.
about Potter, Damien.
No, I think he needs to do one of his. I think he needs to do one of his trips to the theatre. You know, those bonding sessions or something. Like, yeah, I
Probably,
don't know.
mate. Right,
I don't-
listen, Damien, I'm wrapping things up, mate. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been terrific talking to you, Damien.
It's been good.
thanks,
It's
Jeff.
been
I
good,
love you,
mate.
mate.
I'll have you on again, son. I'll have you on
Yeah.
again. Joan, thank
Pleasure.
you very much for your comment, and everybody in the chat. Thanks for your
Joan.
comments, guys. Brendan, great chat. Budgie, Jeff, also Damien. who does not inhale. Not all in the chat. See you tomorrow, Patrick. Mate, you should see his fingers going on his phone when he's typing, mate. Yes, it's Tuesday we played. Thank you, Joan. Loves playing in the evening. Yeah, he does. Are you tomorrow with Kieran? Yes, mate. Same time as usual, 10 o'clock on the Old School Hammers on West Ham Network. Thanks all, as usual. And thank you all for coming and joining us in... Oh, evening, Helen. We're just signing off, darling. Sorry. But thank you for joining in, babe. Please, everybody, make sure you give us a like before you leave if you haven't already. Nice one, Darren. Yeah, everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your likes. And, well, you know, we'll do something again real soon. Jeff, just give your channel out a shout out, mate.
Okay, yeah, you can find me on the Bowling Lounge. We do a talk show on a Tuesday. Budgie, you're often on, so not for the next couple of weeks. Got a game next week, but we should be back as normal after that. So if anyone wants to pop along and join in there, it'd be great to see you all.
Brilliant. And as you see, Jeff occasionally pops up on other channels also. You've been on Old School Hammers, haven't you?
I have been on Old School Hammers. Yeah, I popped on Tony's channel as well, early doors. Been on there a couple of times. So, and James has had me on once or twice on E20 as well. So shout out to James as well.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Thanks, Helen. That's great. Thank you, Joan. Lovely. And on that note, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Once I've played the outro, I'll still be in the green room for a couple of minutes if you want to stay.
Cool.
I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone in the chat. See you next time.
Come on, you hands.
Massive. Massive.